Now, this is part 2 of Ancientsathon, or my pile of possibilities for Ancientsathon, and it is mainly focused on the plays as well as the non-fiction work. If you would like to know about more about Ancientsathon, which is a month-long readathon happening in June, please check with part 1. I'll leave the link of that particular video in the description box below, as well as in the overhead cards above, for all of you to cross check. So before you begin with this, please check with part 1, and I will be starting off with the plays which I've selected to read for this particular readathon. So the first play that I selected is a very famous play written in Sanskrit by Kalidasa, who was a very famous poet, popular within the 4th and the 5th century AD, and this is called Abhhijnanashakuntala, or the recognition of Shakuntalam, and this is one of the latest translations, and this deals with Shakuntala, who is a illegitimate child of a very powerful sage, as well as a celestial nymph who is brought up by other sages, and she is selected by a passing king called King Dushyant, who was on a forest expedition. He falls in love with Shakuntala because of her beauty, and he marries her and he gives her a ring, and he forgets about her as soon as he reaches his palace, because Shakuntala is cursed by one of the sages called Durvasa, when she could not attend to him properly, and she could not pay her regards and respects to him properly. So he curses Shakuntala, and Shakuntala, when she goes to the palace and presents the ring to prove that she was selected by the king to be his queen, the king rejects her because due to the curse he does not remember Shakuntala at all. So Shakuntala has to go through a lot of ordeal, and the entire play is about the journey of how Shakuntala is recognized by her husband King Dushyant as to the very women whom he loved, and the very women whom he presented his royal ring to. So that's what this play is about. It's a very beautiful play. The second play that I will be choosing is called Vikramorvashiyam. Now, Vikramorvashiyam is also written by Kalidasa. This is also one of his very famous work, and this is about the earthly king Pururvas, who rescues a celestial nymph called Urvashi from a demon, and they become lovers. Unfortunately, they can't express their love for each other, and they are very shy, and then there are heavenly curses and earthly imperfections and earthly illusions, because of which they remain separate. So the entire poem is about the pursuit, or the heroic pursuit, of the celestial nymph Urvashi by this earthly king. So that's what this entire play is about. The third play which I'll be reading is also by Kalidasa, and this is one of his very famous plays called Malavikagnimitram, or this is about a dancer called Malvika and a king called Agnimitram. It's a forbidden tale of love between a dancer and a king, which cannot happen, but yes, there it is, all about forbidden love. And the next play that I'll be reading is from or is by the playwright Shudraka, who was also a very famous Sanskrit poet king. He was a Kshatriya king, but he was also a poet. And this is called okay, let me get this right. It's called Mrchchakatikam. Mrchchakatikam translates to the toy play cart, and this is about this is about forbidden love again, and this is basically extramarital love between a very rich and beautiful courtesan and a handsome married yet broke merchant, and their love affair causes a crime, it causes chaos, it causes violence, and it finally results in a political rebellion. So it all happens around a toy play cart or a mud play cart, because most of the toys were made out of mud during those times, and that's what this play is about. So it's a very famous play. I'm planning to get to this first. So those are the plays that I'll be reading. Now, coming around to the non-fiction work, I don't have to talk much about the non-fiction work. The first non-fiction work that I'll be reading is from the ancient classical literature, which is from the Vedic period, which is Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Patanjali was a very famous sage who compiled the Yoga Sutras, and this is a classical work, and most of this has been translated by Swami Vivekananda, and he has given his entire translations very well. So that's the first book that I'll be reading in non-fiction. The second one would be Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. So this is a very famous work of Taoism, and or the first work, and it's a very simple translation. Quite looking forward to reading this. The third is The Art of War, which is from the Chinese classical work, and I'm not too sure when it was written. I think it was 5th century BCE, and this is all about Chinese military treaties, and it's about the work of how we can avoid war and how we can approach it should it be imminent. And it's actually a very beautiful illustrated version, and let me just share the illustrations with you. So it's written very simply, and I actually loved the entire make and model of this book. So that would be the third non-fiction work which I will attempt to read. And the fourth one which I plan on reading is called The Book of Five Rings, which has been written by the Japanese swordsman Miyamoto Musashi around 1645. It's a book on martial arts. So this is a book of five rings. This is also illustrated, and if you can see, it's got wonderful illustrations over here. So quite looking forward to reading this. So those would be the non-fiction works that I plan on reading. So along with all those pile of possibilities and the books and the plays and the poems and the non-fiction books, there are two very fun books that I'm looking forward to including in this particular pile of possibilities. One of them is the classic called Vetalapanchavinsati. Now this is the 25 tales of a genie, which has been translated by Sivadasa. Now Sivadasa is rumored to be very famous between the 11th to the 14th century AD, but there is no proof. There is no written proof about it. And also this is about the monarch called King Vikramaditya, and once he is given a task of capturing a very notorious genie who used to inhabit a corpse, and he used to stay hidden in a forest hanging on a tree upside down, and he was claimed to be very naughty and very dangerous as well. So Vikramaditya had to pull him down from the tree and then carry him on his shoulder, because that was what the genie who was speaking through the dead corpse wanted him to do. And to ensure that his capture is fulfilled, Vikramaditya agrees to everything, one of which is that the genie is going to tell a story or a tale of a princess or a courtier or anything which requires a monarch to dispense judgment, and that the judgment has to come from Vikramaditya, as if he is actually judging a case. So that will prove whether he is wise and whether he knows the laws as well. So this is what this entire book is about. There are 24 tales, and the 25th tale is the exposition of the entire narrative. So it's a very interesting book, and it's a very fun read. There is a teleseries which was broadcasted way back in the 1980s when I was a child, and I used to watch this regularly, and I was pretty scared of it because the genie who was to inhabit the corpse was absolutely horrible to look at, and I was terrified of it. So quite looking forward to reading this. And the other book which I would like to read is the translated work by Rumi, and these are stories by Rumi, and mostly they are the stories which have been taken from the Masnavi, which is one of his very famous works, and this includes all the works from which it does include the faith of Zoroastrianism, as well as the Islamic faith, and there are stories of followers from both these faiths. There is wisdom in it, there's wit and humor in it as well, and this is mainly been written in Konya, which is a specific form of the ancient Persian language. So that's another book that I would like to include. So those were the few books that I plan on reading. I'll be starting them early on. So by the time you're watching this video, I probably would have started with the first one already. And that's all I have for you today. Do let me know what you think about these books. And in case if you're interested in reading any of these books with me, do let me know in the comment section below. We'll definitely buddy read. And with that, I'll be wrapping up this video. I'll see you soon again. And I would like to round off by saying thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good reading week ahead, and namaste.